That cord won't work?
Barry brings a different machine.
Thursday, September 20th, okay for you to have an election committee meeting to appoint inspectors for November 2nd, 10 a.m.
What day?
10 a.m. on November 2nd.
I'll let her watch that number.
I think I mentioned it too.
Can't find anybody.
Yeah.
Weekend, but then the damn weekends are windy all the time.
Plus a little more crowded out there.
Oh, there's like 25, 30 boats out there.
Do we have to wait, for Richard to leave?
Yeah, we should. I'm just filling everybody, during the DDA meeting here about 20, 25 minutes ago, I got a call from Richard. Our meeting is posted for 7 o'clock. We scheduled a meeting for 7 o'clock. It's not on our website anywhere. It's not, the time is not on our agenda. But on the posting out here for the rescheduled date, it says 7 o'clock.
So we'll sit for now.
So, you know, we'd be opening ourselves for an open meetings act violation. If we went ahead and met at 6 and somebody should show up at 7, expecting the meeting to be starting. So anyway, Richard said he would still come at 6 and we would decide how we're gonna deal with it. I said, well, go back to the days of who? Playing pinochle. And by the by, other things, the annual MTA dinner meeting, which usually in May, is going to be in September this year. We've set a date for the 22nd right now, Wednesday the 22nd of September. And it's probably going to, well, we voted on it, it's going to be at Norman Township. You know, the one that was usually at the Bear Lake Methodist Church.
Oh, is it being Norman now?
Yeah, it's going to be at Norman.
That was good.
Yeah.
Swiss.
Yeah, we are looking at having Jerry Gates Zubin.
September 22nd.
22nd.
6 o'clock still, you know, there'll be an announcement on it. I can't remember, it's usually orders at 5:30 or something like that. Then at 6,
What's that called?
the county MTA annual meeting.
Meals at 6.
Yeah.
Did you say the 22nd or 27th?
22nd.
Is that, we got a calendar right there, is that a Wednesday?
Yeah, it's a Wednesday. Yeah, 22nd.
So the Norman Township Hall.
It's nice to see somebody in the audience today. Normally, we're like the main tank repairman.
And Dale and Brian, I'm still trying to get something set up with, what's the name? Silversmith for our water infrastructure.
Yeah.
So right now, we're looking at about 2 weeks out. The main one I'm worried about is what shift you're on, Dale.
When's that?
Yeah, say about 2 weeks out.
From today, you're saying?
Yeah, what I'd like to
How you
do
doing?
is set it for about 10 in the morning, so Mike can sit.
You were on call,
I
eh?
gotta find out if Alex is available.
That would be fine, in the morning would be good for me, too.
Okay, good. And you, as long as it's not too early.
Well, the ones that are fishing, right? Okay.
Can you turn the name tag this way a little bit?
I'll take a day off.
No,
Okay, Richard,
thank
I informed the board of our dilemma.
Yeah, he informed us what's going on. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see the posting in Ontario? Shirley and I talked about probably, Tammy might have been using a template, say, of the planning commission to change, reschedule.
The planning commission's always 7, so she probably went up that and forgot to change the time.
But it's not on your website anywhere.
Yeah, is that just as critical?
Yes.
All right, well, then even sitting till 7 isn't gonna work, is it? No.
Did you bring the cards?
No, well, you're gonna be here for another day, so, need your PJs. So we have to reschedule
So-
it for maybe tomorrow?
Your legal recommendation?
Tomorrow won't work, because I don't think we can get it on the website that quick.
No,
It has to be on
no.
there for 18
Gotta
hours.
be 18 hours anyway, doesn't it?
Well, it's gotta be for a special meeting. This is a rescheduled regular meeting,
Scheduled. Okay.
which is 3 days notice.
So that means next week?
Shall we all check our calendars?
So everybody check your calendars.
Tuesday is not good for me.
Tuesday the 10th.
Every day is Saturday for me, so.
Oh,
I'm assuming you're considering still the 6 o'clock time?
Yes.
Well, what about you?
I'm good any day this
Any
I
day,
can't
any
get
time?
home, my wife is expecting me at 8
In the
o'clock, 9
afternoon.
o'clock
Oh,
tonight.
an evening, okay.
week.
I can do any night next week except Tuesday. I can't do Tuesday, but
Well, should we, want to go for Wednesday next week?
That's fine,
Wednesday night?
that's fine.
I'll see, I'll call.
Okay, well, first thing in the morning,
In the
let us
morning,
know.
we'll be, I'll give you, when I wake up,
Yeah, when you wake up.
But we go for Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
And
We
the
don't
second,
need you, Dean.
and the second choice would be
Huh?
what?
You
How
don't
about
need
a
you.
backup?
Why without you?
How about a backup of Thursday? First choice Wednesday at 6, second choice Thursday at 6 next week. And I've already put in my notes, Tammy, about getting it on the website as well.
I'm sorry.
The 5th would be the 11th. or-
All right, it's still called a rescheduled regular
I
meeting?
think so.
pardon?
Is it still going to be called a
Yes.
rescheduled?
Right, because it's the meeting that was originally scheduled for Tuesday.
Yeah.
That had to be rescheduled because of the election.
Right.
Put in a reschedule.
Yep.
Okay, everybody's good with that?
Not much choice.
All right.
No?
Yeah.
And sorry about this, particularly Tyler and Steve for making the trip here. Tyler, are you available next week?
Yeah, I can still make Wednesday, Thursday harder.
Okay. Well, Wednesday's our first choice, so I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Okay.
Okay? And Steve, likewise?
Wednesday would be a better day for us too, because we're Pleasanton on Tuesday and we're Arcadian on Thursday.
Okay.
Is it necessary for them, if they're just giving presentations, to do it in a meeting, or could they do it here tonight?
Well, it's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah.
To do it at a meeting.
For your reschedule, could the agenda be amended? Just a thought,
Yeah.
and then this would be outside of an open meetings kind of thing. We were to just leave you guys with information.
Yeah, no, my thought on.
I'm not sure who these people are, so I don't know what it is.
Okay.
If there's any-
Yeah, Tyler Duma is with the Conservation District, just to give a brief presentation on behalf of Conservation.
If you guys want to hear a presentation tonight, that's fine, as long as you don't deliberate or take any action.
Right, and it's
Dealing
neither
with
one of them
policy.
require action, I don't
Right.
believe. And Steve is here with the,
Connect Manistee.
I'm sorry.
Connect Manistee.
Yeah, Connect Manistee, the infrastructure,
Broadband.
Broadband.
broadband, yeah. So, yeah, if we can do that without an issue. My concern was the fact that we've posted it on this agenda, but, you know,
You can change the agenda.
well, we'll,
Yeah.
if we hear them tonight, we'll definitely take them off the agenda for next week.
Right, exactly.
So, okay, Steve, you're up first if you wanna.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have my wife roll to it. Everyone's tired of listening to me talk.
Hi, I'm Rose Fosdick, Steve's wife, and here tonight representing Connecting Manistee County. In the packet he's passing out, one of the first things you'll see is there's a list of the committee members that have been meeting with us since January. We've been virtually meeting once a month. This is a grassroots initiative. And the first thing we undertook was surveying the county to see what people are saying out there about their internet service. And that survey was sponsored by West Shore Community College and the Manistee ISD. So also in the packet, you'll see some charts of the data of the initial results we've gotten on that survey. And what the committee was looking for is, we just see there's a need to have fast, reliable, and affordable high-speed internet across the county. We've received well over 400 comments in addition to the people answering the questions on the survey. And if you'd like to see those comments, we're happy to send those out to you at email, but there's 17 pages worth of comments, so we didn't run the copy machine and get copies for everybody, but we're happy to share that. We feel strongly that there's major economic benefits to be realized from improving the broadband network in our area. It hasn't specifically been studied in Manistee County, but there's also a handout in there that goes over 15 ways rural broadbands can benefit the area economically. So what we're looking at is what are the options, what can and can't be done, and we see the next step would be to conduct a feasibility study. So we have approached making our rounds with all the townships to see if there's interest, and also looking at some anchor organizations in the county such as the library, the hospital, the school system, Central Wellness with community mental health. We all know COVID shined a laser light on the importance of being able to have connectivity for our students to do their homework. More and more things are being done through telemed and telebehavioral health, which can help us with the situation when we lack providers in the area to still be able to get those services to our people. And we do still have several areas in the county that don't have the connectivity that they need, and those are usually the ones that are most in need of those services. So we'll just leave the information. Of course, what we're looking for right at this point is a letter of support, which I know we can't discuss or take action on tonight, but at least you'll have the information to look over. If you have more questions, let us know. We're not asking for any financial commitment at this time. We want to see, first of all, if there's enough interest amongst all the townships and those anchor organizations to proceed. And then we would like to see input from all the townships and those anchor organizations if they're in interest in what they would like to see in that feasibility study and how we might be able to move things forward. So that's all we have.
Does anybody have any initial questions at all?
What do you consider high-speed internet? I have charter internet or spectrum internet. Is that, it isn't very fast, but is that considered high speed?
Right now, the FCC definition for broadband internet is 25 megs download by 3 megs upload.
Okay.
All the new grant proposals coming out of the federal government are asking for a minimum of 100 down and 100 up.
That would be much faster than I've got.
Most of the internet that's going in the state is typically a gig up and a gig down.
And does that require fiber optic?
Yes.
For the most part?
That's the other thing with the federal grants. They're only going to grant money for fiber networks.
And what should the township do in regards to the federal infrastructure bill, which I understand will include lots of money for expanding broadband access around the country? Is that something we should wait to see what Congress does before we take action? Or is this something that you're asking for independently of whether an infrastructure bill passes Congress or not?
We're thinking that the feasibility study will help us be prepared, and part of it is just understanding it's a complicated issue, and there's more than one way to skin the cat, of course.
Right.
So just to find out what is available, what is out there, and how can we be best positioned if the county chooses to move ahead in some way, to not be playing catch-up. We've been working closely with Mason County, and they have just recently completed their feasibility study, and their county board has voted to move ahead. So we know that there's other areas looking at it, and there's going to be a line for that grant money. So the closer we can get to shovel ready and know what we can do and what we might be able to afford, the better the chances will be of getting in on any funding that
And
might be
the grants are coming from where?
Federal government.
There's, yeah.
What agency?
Typically, it's the grants that are coming down now are NTIA grants,
Okay.
Department of Commerce,
All right.
versus the FCC.
Is there any place in Manistee County that has high-speed internet per your definition?
25 and 3,
Yeah,
Charter Spectrum.
okay. But nobody's got 100 up and 100 down?
Well, some Charter Spectrum customers do.
Okay.
I got 117 down.
What's that?
I've got 117 down.
117 down?
Only 12 up.
Right.
Pretty fast.
And that's the technology, and when we look at this, we look at something that if we're going to invest millions of dollars in broadband, we want it to last for 40, 50 years.
Sure.
We don't want to find out 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, was, oh geez, that worked for a while, but now everyone demands more and you can't give more.
Right. And is the difference between Tom's internet and my internet, for example, just a location issue? Because I live in Manistee Township, Charter Spectrum does not provide those speeds in that part of the system, or because, I mean, you would think if higher speed internet was available to me where I live, that I would be getting postcards and calls from Spectrum every other day trying to sell that to me, but I don't. So is it a question of geography for the most part, or is it just a question of customer demand?
It's a question of technology. Charter Spectrum, being a cable company, attaches to the house through a copper line.
Right.
Copper line can only limits how much speed you have.
Okay, so it is a question of geography then.
It's
Yes.
a question of geography, and with the private internet service providers, of course, it's a question of density, whether it's populated enough to
Right,
bring
yeah.
in that system.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Are you also charter?
Fat cable like that coming in.
That's because you have a big fat wallet.
But Charter does have 3 or 4 levels. I know that.
Yeah, I just don't think that's available out where I live, even though I'm on a Charter package, TV, internet,
Yeah.
and so on, but
And that's why we wanted the survey too, because it is confusing what the maps will show. It'll show whole areas covered, but then when you were in Arcadia, we're assuming that's charter country, everybody's covered, and they're saying, oh, well, wait a minute, no, we're not. No, we're not.
Mecklenburg Township is that way too. And you should live out county, because to get 10 megabytes of speed, you're considered, you're top of the pole.
top of the,
Right?
yeah.
Most all of it is CalTel.
Mhm.
CalTel, even though they do list, I think a 15 meg upload, it's $100 a month for that. And the other thing too is we can have really, really fast internet, but if it isn't affordable, it doesn't do any good.
Steve, I'm hearing fact that there's, I think it's called dark fiber.
You've been talking to Jeff.
Oh, County,
Yes.
you wanna explain that a little bit, talk about it a little bit?
Well, there is dark fiber.
Which means the fiber's in the ground.
Yeah, you have a fiber line that runs from the south end of Manistee County to the north end of 31. You also have a fiber line that runs from 31 of Coates Highway all the way down Coates Highway to Brotherton School. The ISD put those in, what, the early 90s or mid 90s? And they might only be using 1 or 2 fibers in that line. I don't know if it's a 32 fiber line or a 64 fiber line, but the other fibers that are there, Caltel's using some of them, and a lot of them could just be sitting empty, and that's what's called dark fiber. In other words, it's fiber that's not lit up yet. No one is sending data back and forth on it. And part of this feasibility study would be to research how much is there and who owns it and whether it's available. Pretty much if Charter owns it, if AT&T owns it, if Verizon owns it, it isn't available. They're not going to allow competition to come in and use their line. But, Jeff continues to ask this question about dark fiber. Every fiber line that's gone into the ground in this county had to be permitted by the county. So he has the answer to his dark fiber if he just asks his clerk. But
we don't know how much of it's actually being utilized.
no, and it doesn't make right now I know of, I think 41 miles of it. 30 miles going from south to north, and 11 miles going to Brother. There's probably some fiber in town here going to some of the businesses. And the other problem with, well, not a problem if a government unit decides to do this broadband in the county, because the ISD can only lease fiber to either a nonprofit or governmental unit. They cannot lease it to them. They cannot connect private business to their line. So.
All right, well, thank you for the
Mhm.
presentation. Tyler?
Thank you.
Thanks for taking us tonight.
Yeah,
And if
thank
you've
you.
got any more questions, because we're gonna ask for your support. We've been to 10 townships already. At least 9 of them have supported. The 10th, we're still waiting for the letter to come back.
All the email responses and that were pretty much all positive? Like you said, you have 17 pages of it or whatever.
Positive for wanting something done,
Yes.
not positive with what service they have.
Right, positive, they want something done.
There was a half a dozen on there at least that said, you really have to have a survey
To
for
figure this
something that we
out.
all know.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what I say about my internet.
Yeah.
I was shocked with Onekama Township, because Onekama Township should be just saturated with Charter. And the guys sitting on the board, they want $17,000 to bring it to my house.
Right, yeah.
And it's, so, anyway, thank you.
Thank you. This is Tyler Dooley with the Conservation District.
Yeah, I've got some handouts for you guys, but I didn't bring enough for everyone, but there's quite a few different documents, so I just leave them on the table and you guys take them if you're interested. Yeah. I did bring a few copies of our strategic plan too, which kind of outlines our action for the next 5 years. And that's a lengthy document, but you guys can have some copies of those as well. So, as Terry said, I'm Tyler Dula. I'm with the Conservation District. I am a conservation technician. I started with the district in 2019. And I have a certain role that is administered by a grant program through the USDA Farm Bill. It's essentially USDA funds that channel through the National Association of Conservation Districts to help with USDA programs. But I want to talk a little bit about what our other district staff offer, the services we provide in Manistee County and some of the surrounding counties, as well as some of the events that we have coming up for Manistee County. So I guess I'll start with the events. The big one this month, third Saturday in August, is the Household Hazardous Waste event. So that'll be the 21st of August from 9 to 1 at the County Road Commission office. If anybody has any questions about the Household Hazardous Waste event, there's information on our website, or they can contact the Conservation District. We can answer questions. We do ask for a $10 donation at the event to cover costs of some of the extra recycling. And then as far as the information goes, there are certain items that we try to steer people away from bringing to household hazardous waste, like automotive fluids that are not mixed, oil, antifreeze, also latex-based paints. Those things are actually not hazardous. You can dry latex-based paint and dispose of it in your household trash. So just trying to educate people on those matters before they get there. The automotive fluids you can obviously take to some of the auto parts stores around town, and you don't have to wait all year to drop it off at household hazardous waste. Some of those things are pretty costly if people bring them to household hazardous waste, so if we can find a way to get them situated another way, it saves us money and allows us to take more at household hazardous waste because we do pay per pound for the event. And then the other event we have coming up is fall stream monitoring. So that will take place in October. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with what we do for the fall stream monitoring. We do stream monitoring in the spring and the fall of 9 sites in Manistee County. And some sites even get into the surrounding counties, but it's focused around Manistee County, Manistee River watershed. And it's macroinvertebrate sampling for health of the streams. So if you're not familiar, macroinvertebrates are things that can be collected from the streams that are a good indicator of a stream's quality. Certain macroinvertebrates, especially like the fly fishing variety, caddisflies, mayflies, different things like that, require pristine water systems. So when we go out and sample for those macros, we will collect those, count, and then the higher number of diversity, higher number of bugs, gives us an idea of what that stream looks like. And then that all goes into a database, and then decisions are made from there at a state level. But we're always looking for volunteers for that event. So if anybody has an interest in getting out and doing some stream sampling, it's great for older kids in their teens if they want to get out and get into a stream or collect some bugs. We do a little identification and education along the way. It's a fun day for people that like to get outside. So again, we're always taking volunteers for that, and that's in October. And then that's pretty much it for our upcoming events throughout the rest of this year. As far as the grants through our office, we did just add additional technician that is funded through the Forest Service, as well as the county is getting a grant through the Forest Service. So work closely with Mike Sicola over in planning to do aquatic invasive species work. So she's been out doing a lot of lake monitoring in lakes in Manistee County, as well as some of the streams. That's Chelsea Cooper. She was actually an intern for the district back in 2017 or 2018, and now she's returned as a technician. We also have Josh Shields. If you've been in Manistee County long enough, you've probably met Josh Shields or had him out to your property, but he's a forester and wildlife biologist, and he's actually got his PhD in forest ecology, and pretty well known around the state for his forestry experience. He operates under a MDARD grant, Forestry Assistance Program. So through that program, you can get free landowner assistance, where Josh will come out to a property, forested property, and walk the property with the landowner, let them know what the health or status of their property is, just give you general information that a landowner might be interested in if they want to pursue any kind of management of their forest or timber harvest, anything along those lines. And which oftentimes leads back to me in my position. So as I was saying before, I'm funded through USDA programs, and there are programs to get cost share dollars to private landowners, both agricultural landowners and non-industrial private forest. So if you can think of any kind of conservation activity that meets any kind of resource concern, there is most likely cost share available for private landowners to do that. In our newsletter, we'll state our last year numbers, but right off the top of my head, I want to say about $300,000 was paid to Manistee County landowners last year, just through those USDA programs for conservation practices on their own land. And it's separate from commercial forest. It's not like you have to allow people to come onto your property and hunt your property, anything like that. It's a program just for private landowners to help them implement their own practices that they like to see on their property. So if anybody is interested in those programs, I do free site evaluations, talk them through the application process, come up with a conservation plan that would address resource concerns on their property, and then we would work through setting up a schedule of operations in which, for instance, if they wanted to plant trees, they would plant the trees, and then once they're in the ground, I certify them as planted properly, and then they get a reimbursement payment for those. That's it right now for our current level activity. We are in hopes, it's part of our strategic plan, to acquire a conservation specialist at some point in the future that would kind of take Chelsea Cooper's position of the aquatic invasives and turn that into a whole watershed service, essentially throughout all of Manistee County. But that's something that we're still working towards right now. And that's about it for what the Conservation District is doing. I can take any questions if anybody has any.
Tyler, the stream monitoring, how many, did you mention how many streams you?
Yep, so we do, I forget the number of streams exactly. There's some sites that are on the same stream, but there's 9 sites total. So we usually split up into teams of 4 or 5. Each team will have a staff member or a lead, somebody that's done it for years. And then we go out and each team would sample 2 sites. So essentially we go to a site and it's a 300-foot stretch, and we're in each stretch for about an hour, and we'll walk collecting macroinvertebrates, and then we bring them back to the office, and then they're all separated and identified with positive IDs at a later date. But yeah, the actual activity of the stream monitoring is a half-day thing, kind of 8 to 1-ish. Sometimes we get done sooner. But yeah, it's 9 different sites across Manistee County.
Yeah, I would imagine Bear Creek is probably one of the streams that you test.
Yeah, we've got a few on Bear Creek. Spirit of the Woods is one that we do on Bear Creek. There's also a Lafayette Road access site up off Big 4 Road. So that's another one. Those are actually, Spirit of the Woods is a good one. Lafayette Road is one that usually the staff take after everyone else is gone because it's clay slicks and a little more tricky to walk. But yep. Any other questions?
The 2 flyers going around now.
I can pass.
Are there
through.
extra samples up there?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
some of the flyers I've got
put
about.
some on our calendar.
Yeah, some I've got about 9. I looked at like our newsletter. We only have 5. I asked somebody to prepare the package for me. I didn't know how many people were going to be here, so.
Well, in particular,
Yeah, the household hazardous
hazardous
waste.
one, we want to get
Yeah, there's actually two for household hazardous waste. One is the information, and then this one is a call for volunteers, which right now we're pretty close to set on volunteers. I think we've got one more spot available if anybody wanted to volunteer for it.
Anyone else have any questions of Tyler? Okay, well, thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate you coming. We'll put that information out on our corner.
Yeah, and if you guys, I think Kendra, our community outreach specialist, dropped some stuff off at your office a while ago for HHW. But if you guys ever need more information, that's what Kendra at our office does. So she's always printing brochures and pamphlets. So if you ever need anything like that, just reach out.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, short and sweet tonight. So we'll get this posted. You're gonna let Tammy know tomorrow, or?
Yeah.
And then we'll get this posted in time and get it on our website. And I'm thinking maybe we should put a note up there, reschedule tonight, so
Yes.
that it shows up at 7 knows.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right, we're done.
Yeah, good, thank you.
You didn't call the meeting to order, so there's
No,
no adjournment.
there was no meeting.
Okay.
There, I think I know what treat that is.
Oh, I didn't look at it again.
Okay, look at it.